Told you there's a cat here. Hello? Hello? There he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do hear you.
All right, perfect. Let's get us in here.
Excellente.
Excellente.
I do warn you, there is a very cuddly kitty who has woken up to decide to want to play. So.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Oh, good. This should be exciting. So, yeah, right before you were like, yeah, let's roll this thing. I'm like, oh shoot. Am I very quiet? We may need to boost me in Discord.
Yep, I'll boost you right now. I gotcha. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that's the Discord shiz that happens. Gotta give it the boost.
How does that sound, you guys? Does that sound any better?
Giving it the boost because he turned me up. How does that sound?
Jules is really quiet compared to you. Yeah.
The boost. They want more.
Boost. Better sounds better. More says Triforce. More. Okay.
Do it.
Do it now.
Do it now. Give it more juice.
How is that, you guys? A little more, says Rins. How is that?
And this is us talking.
Sounds great now, says Atria.
Sounding the balance. And the balance is what?
Is that good?
Get to the choppa. Hi, guys.
Hello. Great. That's good. Okay. Perfect.
Excellente. Excellente. All right.
Nice.
I'm ready here. Lighting looks good. I need to make sure I sit up.
Right. Same here.
Thank you, Volcor.
Nice voice, Jules.
Hi. I can make some voices for you if you'd like. I can do a couple different ones. I did an Ash voice the other day. It was pretty funny. a little Ash action. I'll scare the cat when I do it though.
Oh no.
You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? You ready for some Bob?
Yeah.
All right. Here. Sorry, kitty. Bob, do something.
There you go. Wait, did you voice Ash in Overwatch?
No. That is the lovely and talented Jennifer Hale, of which I am definitely not. So.
Poppy Chucho, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it, Poppy. You're awesome, man. 10 months.
All right, Coffee.
My God.
All notifications off. That includes Google Hangouts, everything.
Google Hangouts.
And anything that rings on your desktop, because it will come through.
Yeah. Hold on. Skype for business can get turned off here.
Bye-bye Skype. Bye-bye Google Hangouts.
Skype for business can get turned off.
And
Hangout.
Slack, because I just muted my Slack.
Should I uninstall the extension? Like I have...
Can you mute? I can mute Hangouts because I get messages on Hangouts too, but I muted it.
I wonder if if I go into the mixer and I mute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Open volume mixer. Oh, there we go. Boom. Yeah. If I could just do it in the mixer, it should work now.
Awesome.
Yeah, it should be good.
Cool. No more extraneous barb sounds.
And then Discord, I think I have streamer mode on, so I think we're fine there. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let me test my notifications here. Make sure you can hear this. Yes, you can, because I see your face. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, there's an option to turn off notifications, especially for Slack, which is annoying because I'm like, I have to remember to turn Slack off.
Yeah.
And it's annoying. It's super annoying.
Yeah.
All right, let's make sure I can read all of this. Yes, I can.
Same here.
Excellent.
Do we want to do any more giveaways while we're
Yeah, let's do that since we're kind of we're easing in. We're saying hi to the chat room now that all our tech stuff is settled. You may have to mouse off of me.
Yep, I got it.
There we go.
I just fixed it.
Cool. And yeah, we're ready. So like, what do you got left? What do you got left to give away?
We've got like 3 or 4 ETC codes.
Ooh. That's
and
nice.
then one more Ragnaros code. So
all right, guys, fill up the chat. Tell them which one you want them to roll first.
What do you want more? We could do ETC Glam Rock Metal ETC codes, or we could do an Ragnaros code. I don't know. What do you guys want more, or what's the better value?
Etria, the disco ball is there just because it's Coffee's birthday. That whole thing may change as you go through the different days of listening to this podcast.
Yeah, it is my birthday, so we have the disco ball for the birthday. Eddie Wright says Ragnaros. Annie says Hellfire. I'd happy to have both, says 8-Bit Dame. Rins doesn't matter. Let's do Ragnaros then. Let's just do Ragnaros.
All right, let's do Rags.
So let me set that up.
Poor Metal.
Fast.
I know we want to make the podcast about Lost Vikings. So here's the thing, guys, while we're, getting at the code. What you got for a code, Mr. Coffee?
Yeah, so if you just type !! rag, you'll be entered to win. Yeah, so type ! RAG in the chat, and you will be entered to win the Ragnaros code.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing this show. If this is the first time that you've heard it, because we've just done one as the pilot, which was kind of our testing the waters. But you guys are going to be a big part of this episode and future episodes for not only your interactions with us for this current one, but topics for future discussion. So there's going to be lots of options for you guys to get in on the action. If there's things that you want us to do as part of a show discussion in the future, that's all you. That's all you.
Phil says Jules is really quiet, so I'm turning up real fast again. Sorry, and then we'll go back to it. Okay, you should be able to see Jules again. Type test Jules. Testing Jules.
Hello. I hate Discord sometimes.
Still too quiet, you guys?
It's just dumb. Discord is dumb. Everything on my end is boosted to the maximum.
Yeah. Phil says more. Okay. I can do it more.
Put me all the way up.
I can crank you all the way up, yeah. We'll figure it out from there. You are?
I'm going to listen to it too.
You're at max right now.
I'm going to listen to myself on that too, see if I hear anything. It's probably going to echo back on me.
Eddie Wright says, she sounds fine to me. 8-Bit Dame says, good. It's a podcast, so they should be at equal. Yeah, we definitely should be at equal, Rins, for sure.
Yeah, see if it, I don't know if you can do it.
So her name, her Metal Magic, her name is at max. Like, she's at max and Discord is at max for me right now.
All right, let me see if I can boost up on my end just a little bit more. So now I am at maximum on my end, like completely on maximum.
Ooh. It's a little loud for me. I mean, I could turn it down on my end.
Yep. I'll bring it down. Bring it down. Yeah.
I think they're trolling. Perfect. This sounds okay though.
Does this sound better?
Yeah. Oh, just a tad too loud?
All right. How about now?
Yeah, she's maxed out on my end. Sounds about good right there. Too much now when you play the game of volumes. There's no middle ground.
I know. It is really tough.
Now it's perfect, says Maddie. Okay, leave it.
All right. We're leaving it right here then.
Nice. All right, fair. Cool. All right, so let's see what's going on with the giveaway.
Yeah, how we doing?
Yeah, anyone, looks like a bunch of people have done it already. If you haven't already and you're interested in a Ragnaros code, type exclamation mark RAG in the chat. We're going to roll it right now.
Awesome.
Free stuff. Free stuff feels good.
I'm so used to being the one to balance all the audio on my end
Yeah.
that we're doing it a little different in this process.
Well, it's cool that we get like we get a little time in the beginning to just kind of chat with everyone, like check in, see what's going on.
We take as much time as we want because
we sure
you know what? It's our podcast. So that's how it works, peeps.
I love it. All right, let's roll the giveaway.
Okay.
Let's do it. Eddie Riot.
Eddie Riot. Buttress, see you later. Have fun at D&D.
See you later, Buttress. Cool. Eddie Riot, congrats. Code incoming. Incoming.
Yes.
And these are straight from Jules, so.
Oh, the Ragnaros one. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
These have literally been sitting on my countertop for like half a year, maybe a year. Nobody wanted them.
Same with the ETC one and the Asmodan one, because I guess everyone already has those heroes. So.
Yeah, but then you get a party stream going on, and everybody needs heroes then. So.
Right.
That's how it works.
The Firelands raid has something back in the day. Amen.
Amen to that. All right. I think I'm ready. Are you ready? Should we do this thing?
Feeling pretty good here.
All right. Chat room, are you guys ready for this? Are you ready to do this?
Podcast hype.
How's this hype? We're going to talk about Diablo Immortal and probably get a little, I don't know. What are we going to do? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dig. I don't know.
We've got so many letters. It's like going to be hard to cover everything, honestly, but
look at all the hype. Look at all the hype. We love you. All right. Let's do this.
Here we go. We're going to start
Episode 1 of the Jules and Coffee Hour is starting in 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the Jules and Coffee Hour, sharing the stories of Blizzard gamers around the world. Pull up a chair. We're glad you're here. Welcome to the first episode of the Jules and Coffee Hour. I'm Jules.
And I'm Coffee, and today is my birthday.
It is your birthday, and there is a disco ball above your head on the stream right now. It's all happening. What a day.
What a day. What a day.
I love it. I'm so excited. I know. We have to beat our chests since I can't do that.
You have to beat your chest when it's your birthday. What are you doing?
I love it. We're here on Coffee's birthday by his design, because when he told me the date we were thinking about, he goes, "Oh, that's my birthday," and I was like, "Well, then we have to do this."
Oh yeah.
It is necessity that we have a little celebration on your birthday, start our brand new project together, and like for real, because we've already got
the pilot out of the way. We've got the kinks out. I think we're getting closer to something of a polished situation here. So I'm super excited.
I am too. I am very excited. Thank you all for the feedback that you gave us after the pilot, and then the people at BlizzCon who came up to us and told us that they listened, and it was just like, I love you people. You're amazing.
I love everyone. Like all the support from the first pilot episode. It's been just crazy. Like something I didn't expect or didn't anticipate, and just everyone reaching out and giving their feedback and all the positive vibes. It's been amazing.
It has been. So let's get into what this show is all about.
Sounds good.
The goal of the Jules and Coffee Hour. So this show is about you. You're part of the HeroesHearth community. You listening to this right now, even if you say, me? Yeah, you are a part of the HeroesHearth community. And we, Coffee and I, are here to talk and tell you stories, tell your stories, and talk about the things that are going on in the community with you as Blizzard gamers. And this show is going to be about Blizzard types things, and it's also going to be about non-Blizzard type things, just life and the things that we experience as gamers, streamers, content creators, people who watch content creators, play the games, and then we go out in our real lives and we do the thing. So, you know, this is going to be kind of what we want it to be, but there's always going to be a story element to it. And I think that's probably like when you put together a podcast, you're like, what's the thing? Well, I think the story thing is our thing. Wouldn't you say?
I would say that. I think that's going to separate us from not just a lot of content out there, but just, you know, even a lot of streams out there, like podcasts, streams, like just, you know, content in general, because I think we're pulling from our own experiences here, but we're also reaching out into the community, and we're trying to get everyone's voice heard. And it doesn't matter what you do. If you're here right now, if you're listening, we're talking about you, because we want to hear your stories. We want to hear your experiences, your opinions about pretty much everything we discuss here. And the world is our oyster, because we're in the Blizzard universe. And Blizzard's created this vast, incredible world. You know, all these games. It doesn't matter. I'm just thinking about where this could go, and I'm getting fired up right now, because it could literally go anywhere. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the beauty of podcasting, is we're creating our world in the way that we would like to. And so when we talked about the pilot episode in the beginning, it was like trying to kind of come together. But the next part that we're going to do for this episode is going to be talking about something that happened at BlizzCon, which is the Diablo Immortal announcement. That's going to be what we're going to be aiming towards. And I know it's been a little bit of time since BlizzCon, and everybody's kind of had a chance to just digest it a little bit. And we're going to talk about what happened, but we're more going to talk about the reactions and the motivations behind why that happened. And I think that it's a little bit of a different take in how we would like to approach this. So, I mean, we went out there, we asked your feedback, and that's another part of this show, which is going to be very cool, is that you guys are going to get to weigh in on the discussions before we have them, which, like, Coffee and I, like, so I have to give Coffee, like, the major props, because his community came out in force.
There's a lot of opinions about this one. There's a lot of opinions about this one, and anyone that you know, spoke up and sent in a letter or just pinged us, like, we deeply appreciate you. I mean, we thought we had a lot last week. We thought we had enough content last week, and then the weekend hit, and we got more and more letters, and then today hit, the day of, and we got more and more letters, and it's all really valuable, like, incredible opinions and stories about the Diablo Immortal announcement, and it blows my mind. So I think what that means is we've got a juicy topic here. Am I right about that?
Absolutely, I agree. And this is going to be the route that we want to go, is get your opinions. We're going to integrate that into our discussions, and we're going to go from there. So where this show happens to end up, we don't quite know yet, because we have a little bit of a roadmap, and the rest of it just kind of falls into place as our words start coming out of our mouths. Yeah. So, so thank you in advance to all of you who did send in your thoughts. And let's just put it out there right now. We do have an email address. It's podcast@heroeshearth.com, and you guys can email that at any time related to the show, discussions about the show, anything that we have talked about, and just give your feedback or give us a suggestion of something that you want us to talk about in the future. That's going to be your avenue to reach us the best way. And you can also reach us on our own Twitter accounts and just send us stuff, because Coffee and I talk all the time, so we're just gonna be sending it back and forth in that respect.
I think the coolest thing about this email address is you know, we want to hear from you guys regarding feedback for, you know, what we're producing right now, but also we want to hear about what's going on in your life, and we're looking for future topics to talk about. So you know, as previously said, it's the Blizzard universe. It could be anything. Could be something that happened to you in a game. Could be something that you know, was said on social media. Maybe something that happened to you personally in your life that relates back to the game. It's kind of wide open. So please, if you guys have any stories or anything you want to say, send it to us. podcast@heroeshearth.com.
Perfect. So with that, I think it's time to jump right into our discussion, and that is with the topic of the week. It's time for the topic of the week. And very well announced.
Yes.
I may be a little bit biased.
But also the music. I mean, doesn't it just make you want to, move a little bit? Do a little dance move, right?
Well, I mean, for me, I've kind of like this music. Like, I'm always pretty hype when I do a podcast, and this music makes me want to pull up my warm blanket and just like
I see. Like sit by the
cuddle
hearth.
up with a kitty.
But there's
I
like
love
a
the
fiddle,
music, though.
right? I feel like there's footwork involved, and you guys can't see it right now,
true.
but my feet are just moving like crazy right now. I'm doing a whole jig. But you guys, you can't see it. You can't see under the table, but that's
with his like not upper body moving at all, which is
Yeah.
incredible. It's a feat of strength.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's dig into this lovely topic. There was a lot of reaction after BlizzCon about how the Diablo Immortal reveal was received, and I think we were all taken by surprise with a mobile game announcement, but even more surprised, I think especially a lot of the people who responded to these emails to us said they were surprised at how negative the response was. So in this episode, we'd like to talk about the whys and what we think probably happened, why this BlizzCon felt a little different than a lot of the others if you've been a repeat viewer or repeat visitor, attendee, then, and whether managing expectations about Diablo and all the things that came before it was a good idea by Blizzard or a bad idea. So, Coffee, let's talk about how it was for you when you heard about Diablo Immortal.
Let's talk about it. It's kind of interesting to discuss because my perspective is that obviously it's at the convention. We were sitting down watching this play out, and I had been waiting in line at the Mythic stage for probably like 7 o'clock a.m., 7:30 a.m., waiting to get in because I really wanted to watch it, at that main stage.
Yeah.
Even though the announcement for Diablo was in a different stage, if I recall, but everything was kind of broadcast to the main Mythic stage.
Right.
So there's that, and then what happened is they started to have some technical issues when they swapped over to, I believe, it was either the Hearthstone. Yeah, they started to have some technical problems, and there was an energy that was going in the crowd that was building. And it fell out. It kind of fell out from underneath at that point because you couldn't hear you were seeing incredible cinematics and you were seeing flashy stuff, but then you couldn't hear a voice under it. You had no idea what was going on. So they started to scramble a little bit. I think they swapped to another stage. They swapped over to the Diablo stage for a second, and then it went back to the Overwatch stage. And it seemed like they were just trying to make the best of a bad situation. I'm not actually sure. It would be interesting to talk to somebody from Blizzard, but I'm not actually sure what the original order of events was supposed to be versus what the order of events ended up being, and how much of the technical problems, affected their actual presentation. But there was that issue, and by the time it came to announce the big Diablo announcement, I think that people were just, they weren't de-energized, but they were scratching their heads a little bit, and there was that problem. So that was how it was for us at the show, and that was just kind of the feel in the air. I'm not exactly positive how it was for you guys at home, but that's how it felt for us. And then, do you agree with that somewhat?
Yeah, it's just there's this feeling like. So the energy of building the excitement was definitely shifted when that, because you could see people kind of getting disappointed. They were already disappointed when Hearthstone was like, it went on for so long and there was not enough, like they didn't know what to do. It was this feeling of like that, okay, is somebody going to plug in the microphone and just like make it go, right?
Right.
And so it was the first time that I'd been watching a BlizzCon opening ceremony and just a whole announcement where it kind of felt like they didn't have me in the palm of their hand the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was a little strange. It was very odd for me, but I also don't know, honestly, if it was impacted by some of the feeling of like, we started late because there was so much issue with security and people getting in and people still being stuck outside. And so when you know, because every other year it is started smack on the nose.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's a big deal. That
Mm-hmm.
seems to be something that really kind of impacts whether the audience is feeling it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you've got that strike against you, which is people frustrated by security, then frustrated by the fact that they had a huge technical glitch,
Right.
and then the timing of when Diablo Immortal actually got announced. And it landed kind of like a lead balloon in front of a lot of people, and I was waiting. Usually, like, there's something new and people go, "Wow!" and they
Yep.
go crazy. That didn't happen, and I was truly baffled.
Yeah. Yeah, there was it's kind of interesting. I was just watching people around me when the announcement happened, and I realized that a lot of people were doing the same thing. They weren't looking at the stage; they were looking around to see what other
Looking in each
people's
other.
reaction was. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a really curious moment. So
So talk about that a little bit. What do you think what's that reaction from? Why would we look around at each other to decide if we are going to react a certain way?
it's possibly a little bit of that mob mentality type of thing, and we
Mm-hmm.
could expand upon this and generalize it to like the internet, right? Because Reddit is a whole other thing, right? Reddit is sort of the
Mm-hmm.
same way, but I think people tend to look towards other people to see how they're feeling or how they should feel about a
Right.
certain topic or announcement. So I think that's literally what was happening right in front of my eyes on the show floor. Is they were curious to see, I'm feeling certain things. I'm looking around now. Is it okay to feel this way? How do you feel? And this was happening
Yeah.
live in front of us. So it's pretty wild.
And this does happen to me quite a bit when I see something and I maybe have a reaction towards it. And then I read either social media or Reddit or something of that nature
Mm-hmm.
to see how people are reacting, because I look at it from a different perspective. And maybe I'm an anomaly in this, in that I feel a certain way. And then I'm like, I want to know if my feelings are validated.
Right.
I want to know if I am truly seeing the whole picture or not, or am I missing something?
Mm-hmm.
And um, a lot of times people's reaction to some of that stuff, like at BlizzCon, you're pretty much expected most people to kind of just be like, "Woo!" for every announcement that
Yeah.
comes up, right?
Yeah.
And then having people just kind of, so it started though with the Destiny announcement of
Ooh.
the when that remember that when that
Yeah.
guy from Bungie came on, and people were not having it. They were
It,
not pleased.
they had been waiting in line for hours on end. They had started late, and then when they finally started, it was Bungie and it was Destiny stuff, and you were sitting next to the most diehard of Blizzard fans, in the entire world, and there was a little bit of a shock about that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking about all of those things piled on top of each other, and then you get an announcement of a Diablo mobile game, which, I read through the emails that we got, and one of them actually, like, there's a lot of logic that has been given to us by our audience, and I'm going to
Yeah.
say that our audience is very likely going to be on the positive end of the spectrum versus the
Yeah.
negative end for the most part, right?
Yeah. I
Um,
think so.
so there's a little bit of bias with that,
Sure. Sure.
but I looked at, so there's one that I really enjoyed, and it was just I'm just trying to find the specific one, um, talking about like, hey, if you need something to kill time, um, while you're waiting in line someplace, well, now you can play Diablo on your phone, where Eddie Riot also said that the guy that was trying to make everyone excited about Diablo Immortal, and he said to the crowd, "Do you guys not have phones?" Which was this kind of like so that was like one person said this, and then Eddie brought that up, and I was like,
Yeah.
"See, that's two very different sides of that same coin."
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I think is you know, and part of that I think might be frustration on their side because there's so much that goes into this. There's blood, sweat, and tears poured into this not just the game, but also the announcement. And
Yeah.
it's a little insensitive for fans to react so harshly when all of that is going on behind the scenes. But I mean, just to kind of piggyback off that, you know, we got a letter from Carrie, talking about, you know, she worked on mobile games for the longest time, and she said, you know, she played the demo, she enjoyed it, and she's looking forward to it, but she was feeling like, you know, she felt she was considering it from that PR angle. And she was
putting herself in the shoes of the people that made the game.
Exactly. And she said it's just unfortunate that, you know, people are blinded by that like initial gut reaction passion, and they're not considering what goes on behind closed doors, and that they can't understand all of that. So some people are looking at it from that angle too, from that like PR perspective.
Yeah. So like from my end, I saw this. I'm not a huge Diablo fanatic or anything. I've played the game. I liked the game, but I hadn't played it in ages. And then I got my hands on Diablo Immortal because I was like, I wanted to try it. I wanted to see what it was like. And that's just my mentality. Like I try not to crap on something until I've given it at least enough of a consideration. Except for maybe the new She-Ra, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And then it's because I may come off as a hypocrite, but I think it's relevant.
All right.
So I tried to give it a shot and tried to, and I liked it, and I had fun with it, and it left me going home and wanting to play Diablo more, and then I wanted to talk about, like, I wanted to play it on the Switch, and I wound up buying a Switch so that I could play Diablo, which is just like backwards as hell.
That's what ended up happening with me too. Is I streamed Diablo 3 from the show floor with Kaiberries on the Switch, and literally the first thing I said to my wife when we got done streaming it was, "We're buying a Switch," because it was a lot of fun. It feels so smooth on the Switch. But then I also tried Diablo Immortal, and I gotta be honest with you. I'm not a diehard Diablo fan. I haven't been playing it, you know, for a long time. But it felt really good to me on the mobile. It felt good to me on the mobile, and it was something I know that I'm definitely going to play when it comes out. But that's just my perspective. You know, I think that a lot of other people that are diehard fans probably have a little bit of a different perspective.
Right. There's a side of this that is definitely relevant, and that's the level of disappointment that fans had when they saw that it was a mobile game, which in the United States is not something that a lot of people are invested in, and they look at it in a perspective of saying, well, you're catering more to the Chinese audiences and overseas audiences than maybe the US audiences, which is where BlizzCon is. Like, I understand all those arguments, and they make good points. And all the disappointment about Diablo 4 not being announced, even though it was, you know, prefaced beforehand. Hi, Windows 10.
It's actually another computer. Second computer.
It's a second computer.
They'll get you, man.
You can never get away with them.
You can't
get away.
Second computer.
That's
as you're saying, sorry.
So, yes, okay. You know, this is what podcasting is about. You just riff as you go.
I'm loving it.
The disappointment levels are out there, and they were high, and there were people that really wanted to have those anticipation was there, and they tried to manage it. But at the same time, I'm going to go on a limb.
Sure.
See if you think about this.
Okay.
I think as a society, we have problems managing and expressing and dealing with disappointment.
Ooh. That's interesting. I think to some extent I agree. But I would go further and say I think as a society we might just have some trouble managing our emotions. I mean, that's
even better.
We feel things in big ways. We feel things in big ways. And when we feel something, I don't know that we've been conditioned or trained to necessarily accept both sides of the story or see, you know, the flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
We just kind of lash out sometimes.
Yeah.
If that
I
makes
was
sense.
in a long-term relationship with someone who just could not handle disappointment. Disappointment was like the crushing blow that would destroy them in to the point where they would get like, they would lash out.
Mm-hmm.
They would pout. Like really, like very childish types of behaviors. And I would be just like, I'm like, well, dude, like I get that you're disappointed, but
Yeah.
let's look for a solution or something else to try to make it better. And
Mm-hmm.
Your statement is spot on, because now we have the world of social media where we can literally express our opinions in the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is something that I struggle with, is because it's like I want people to be able to express their disappointment, but I also want them to find ways to process it in more healthy ways.
Right.
And we tend to get really super sarcastic with memes and barbs and just and words and meanness, and this is where my Pollyanna comes out. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's just to play devil's advocate here. We got a letter from Maddie, and he's not necessarily lashing out. He's not having a gut reaction, but he's saying that the interesting question to address is, has Blizzard lost touch with their fan base?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very, very like strong thing to consider. Consider. So regardless of if you think mobile games will be fun, it's clearly not what the Diablo fans expected or wanted.
So what do you say to that?
It's tough for me because I'm not necessarily the strongest Diablo fan, but I do know, and this I'm going to kick it back to another letter. I'm sorry, there's just so much from the community that we got here, but Disco Inferno mentions that if you went to BlizzCon, traveled around the world to get that big announcement, get that exciting news, that huge piece of info, I would have to agree that this wasn't it. This wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that news that made me feel really confident and happy and fulfilled. If I made that investment in my time, my money, my travel to get to BlizzCon, this probably wasn't what. But there's, I mean, it's just I'm one person.
Yeah, and that's again managing disappointment. It's if you have high expectations, and so like I don't remember this. I know you've told me, but were you present at BlizzCon when the Overwatch announcement came out? Were you there?
Yes, I was.
You
there.
were there.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I know we've talked about it, and I could not remember.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Now that was a banner year and an insane amount of excitement. Like, still something I still talk about as one of the most like impactful BlizzCons ever. And that's the kind of thing that a lot of people are kind of going into it saying this is like the thing, it's the hype. And I will 100% agree that this BlizzCon felt kind of womp womp when it came to the announcements.
I would piggyback, and again, I'm just going to counter that by saying, can every year be that year? Can every year at BlizzCon be that year where you announce an Overwatch? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. First of all, Kagiri, you're incredible. Thank you so much for rating. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for coming in.
But I don't
and
know
welcome
that.
To the Jules and Coffee Hour.
Welcome to the Jules and Coffee Hour. There's music, I promise, and we're doing a jig under the table. But I don't know that every year can be that year where you announce an Overwatch. There's got to be years where there are building blocks being put in place to make that announcement.
Right.
So if every year was an Overwatch year, would it be a big announcement? Like, would it be that like profound idea that slaps you in the face if every year had an announcement like that? I don't know.
True. And that's a very good point. The and there is the managing expectation side, which I think Blizzard really tried to do, which is to let people know ahead of time, you're not getting a Diablo 4 announcement. It's going to take us longer. But it didn't seem to do a thing. Like, it didn't seem to change anything. And so my thoughts, I don't even know the answer to this myself. Should they have done that, or should they have just
let
said,
it play out?
Yeah, and like I think that is probably one of the biggest struggles for game developers out there, is how much do you disclose to the audience about what it is or isn't things that you're working on.
Yeah.
It's a tough call, and I've watched the lives of like Ghostcrawler when he was working for WoW and used to be very much engaged with the community, and then he left and it changed all over the place, and the community went, "You're not talking to us anymore." It's just this heartbreak of, but then it, then you've got Ghostcrawler promised me a pony things, and it's just, oh man. I don't know the answer. I really don't.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think there is one set answer. It's just it's gonna be a topic that I think people talk about for some time, and we're gonna see those different perspectives. This was an anonymous person that wrote in. They say that so many people really worked really hard on this game, and they put a lot of time and love into it. Just because it wasn't the game that the community had wrongly expected, it was received with so much backlash and disrespect. So is it disrespectful to, knock all that hard work that so many individuals that, supposedly the community loves and supports, put into that piece of work? I don't know.
There's a counter argument that Maddie was saying in the chat room as we were talking earlier.
Oh, really?
And I've seen this a couple of times, and it's a valid argument to say that Blizzard is a game company developing things for its audience, and it is our right as fans of the work to say that yes, we do or do not like your stuff. And that it, but there's a way that you go about it to communicate that. Booing is not one of them.
No, it's not.
I do not have a good time with that. Mad the Shadow was talking about how what he didn't like is some were making the reviews out, negative reviews, basically review bombing things without ever trying out the game demo to tank it. And then the news came in afterwards to talk about how Blizzard's stock went down after BlizzCon. And so yeah, it like this one's really hard for me, Coffee, because Blizzard to me is more than just a company.
Oh yeah,
it represents more than just a company.
It's a family.
Right. You just said what I was gonna say. I love it.
It's a family.
We're like hive mind here.
We're here. But there's one there. I mean, this is hard to talk about, but there's another thing. I mean, Reddit is a monster. First of all, Reddit is a monster. And going back to what I said earlier regarding that kind of like group mentality. Some people will go there to look for how they should feel about something. And when you see people on Reddit posting pictures of an empty booth where like no one is trying out the game, no one's trying out the demo for Diablo Immortal, you don't necessarily get the full perspective of that, because sure, like no one was playing Diablo Immortal when the concerts were going on, when the closing ceremony was going on. You know what I mean? If you're looking to spin a certain story, you can do that. Pretty easily. Were people playing the Diablo Immortal demo immediately after the opening ceremony? Yes, people wanted to get their hands on it. By the end of the last day, people are going to go watch their concerts. They're going to go watch their musicians and their DJs, and they're going to want to see that content. But that's just my take on it. So I mean, Reddit is a, like all kinds of internet, or media outlets, information can be manipulated before it's presented to you. So it's
which is really tough.
It's so tough. It's so tough because you don't know what the best source of information should be, especially when it comes to like this type of a topic.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, we were lucky enough to attend BlizzCon, and we were lucky enough to get our hands on the product and try it ourselves to form our opinion.
Right.
There are millions of other people out there who saw that announcement that didn't. And so I understand that there's a level of frustration when you get that and when you don't maybe have the ability to try it for yourself. And I will... So let me spin back to what I mentioned earlier about the whole the She-Ra reboot. And
yeah,
this is
let's
where
revisit that. What's going on with that?
So we're gonna get, like, I told you we're telling stories on this podcast, so we're gonna tell stories. So She-Ra is my kind of my spirit animal cartoon from when I was a kid. Like, that was me. That was what I wanted to be as a kid. I loved that cartoon. It was a part of me. And me, pretty tolerant, pretty like level-headed Jules, saw that they were doing a Netflix special about She-Ra and making her a new one, and a brand new one, and I went, no! I had a visceral reaction to it without ever giving it a chance, and I still have to. I am still fighting this. I am still fighting this, and so I guess I get it.
You're like, don't touch it. It's perfect. Leave it alone. Don't ruin it.
Because it was such an important part of my life as a kid. And I guess, like, tying it into Diablo Immortal may be a little bit of a stretch, but I do think that there's
I'm just going to say that you're feeling a big emotion, and a lot of people are feeling, I think, a similar emotion. You know, just because you don't necessarily have that attachment to Diablo doesn't mean other people don't. And this is something that you cherish, that's part of your childhood, that's deeply part of you, and you're having that reaction, so that's valid.
Yeah, but then I'm sitting here going, okay, Jules, why are you being intolerant of this? Why are you not giving it a chance like you did for Diablo Immortal,
So you're
right?
thinking it's a little hypocritical.
Yes, and I am calling myself out on this podcast right now. Because I can't resolve those feelings, and therefore it puts me into the shoes of the people who reacted to Diablo Immortal, because it most likely represents more to them in a lot of ways than just the game. And when Matty B talked about it in his letter, I think that it hit on something very much a larger topic, which is that people are afraid that Blizzard is quote unquote selling out. Or they're going in a direction that does not follow, like, that their audience is not as connected to. They're going after the almighty dollar. They're selling us down the river. I'm using all of those cliches. But you can see where I'm going is that I get it. I don't get the reaction, like the actionary stuff that happened, like the review bombing and the hate on everything. I did not do that to She-Ra. I just went, I'm not going to watch it.
Right. You just felt that feeling. You just felt that feeling, and you harnessed that, you embraced it, but you didn't go on the internet and start, being toxic or lashing out.
But I did make a statement about it. And I think I've made a statement did I say something on Twitter? I don't know if I did. I think I did.
Did you use the F-bomb?
No. Are you kidding? I don't use the F-bomb on Twitter. Are you kidding? No, I don't. I just know that I had a little bit of a grumpy fest, which I don't normally do on Twitter either. So it really did trigger. I hate the word trigger. It really did set something off on me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I use that as an example to try to tie it into my own personal experience, to say, okay, is this something that I can understand and relate to, number one? And yes, but then I get the mental break of, like, how do I process this situation for my own self versus how people had processed Diablo. It's just an interesting study into the brain.
It's actually so relevant, because I try to look at pretty much all situations like this. If I can find something in my life that is a similar situation or circumstance to someone else and what they're feeling, I can possibly understand that person a little bit more. So, I mean, that's something that makes a lot of sense to me. It's something, I mean, personally, that's similar to me is like the Star Wars movies and like the new movies, something like that.
All right, go there. Just go there.
Do you want me to go there?
Go there. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Oh, it's
you mentioned it.
Yeah, no, I can talk about it. So, you know, the new Star Wars movies that are coming out right now, they're not my Star Wars films. You know, they're not my Star Wars films. They're the new generation Star Wars films. They might have the characters in them that, you know, I grew up with and that I grew to love. They may be in the films, but that's not my Han Solo, that's not my Luke Skywalker, that's not my Leia. They're in those new films for the sole purpose to forward the story of the new characters.
Right.
So am I like upset about the new films? No, I'm not upset. I'm glad that a new generation gets to experience that world, those galaxies, those planets. But am I gonna embrace them? No, I'm not necessarily going to embrace them like one of my own. So that's how I feel about it. And I think a lot of people might feel that way about Diablo Immortal. Yeah.
I mean, because it's a Diablo that is not their Diablo.
Yeah. It's also a new story. It's not like it was remade. It's not like it was, you know, Diablo remade for mobile. It's a new Diablo. It's a new storyline on a new console or phone. But
and you know, whereas
don't you guys
like the
have
Switch,
phones?
everyone's zing. Damn, Coffee throwing the shade in the first episode.
What you
well, and like I embraced Diablo on the Switch with no problem because it was the Diablo that I knew, and it was just it was ported into something different that was different. You know, same thing, different format that I can take with me on the go. Awesome, perfect. So, yeah, and it's just, and Slice just said kind of what I was going at is not everything has to be made for you. Sometimes things are made for people that aren't you.
That's such a positive way to look at it. I couldn't agree with Slice more. That's a great way to look at it.
Slice, can you tell my brain that about She-Ra, the new one on Netflix? Because I ain't there yet. I know, I'm working on it.
Emotional reaction.
I mean, maybe I should do this as a case study for this podcast and actually watch it and see what I can do there.
Maybe you should give it a try. Maybe you should give it a taste. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I've got some time coming up with the holidays and everything. All right, Coffee. Final thoughts. Final thoughts about this topic.
Final thoughts. I think that people should knock it till you try it. I had a really good time, positive experience playing the demo. I know that I'm going to play it when it comes out. And to be honest with you, I might get a lot of hate, a lot of backlash for this, but it was one of the biggest surprises and most fun demos that I tried out at BlizzCon. So there you go. I'll leave you with that. And, you know, there you are.
I love it. And my final thoughts, think about how we process emotion, especially disappointment. Think about how we express how we feel in ways that are a little bit more positive, because I think the world needs more of that. And if we can encourage people to express their feelings about things without being destructive, we make more positive steps in the world as a society, as an American society, as a world society, to be able to listen to each other a little bit more. Just as we did on the show, we heard a lot of the different perspectives and a lot of the different sides, and the world needs more of that. So those are my final thoughts to this topic.
Well said. Very well said.
Thank you. And you can send us your thoughts and feedback about this discussion to our email address, which is podcast@heroeshearth.com. And each week we're going to be tackling a new topic. You guys are in on this deal as well. You are welcomed and encouraged to send us your own topics as well. It does not have to be game related. We'll take any kind of discussion. It can be game related, but it's also about life. Anything that you have in there. We'll be previewing our next topics on Twitter and asking for your thoughts. And you can follow that on Heroes Hearth Entertainment. That's Heroes Hearth ENT on Twitter as well. But we're not done yet. The chat room thinks we're done. We are not done yet.
We're not done. We have a new segment.
We are not done. We're
We have
here
a
to
new
kind of
segment.
cleanse your palate with this. Before we say goodbye, we're going to shift gears to the world of actually telling more stories. And so I'm just going to do this. Let's do this thing. Hey, Coffee, tell me a story. It's his job to tell me a story, and then I tell him a story. Yes, the stories of our lives that will make you laugh, make you smile, make you think, maybe make you cry, because this is not a cry-free zone. We're probably not going to make you cry today, but I don't know. So, like, as the sounder says, let's cleanse this palate. Coffee, tell me a story.
Oh, I've got a story for you. I've got a doozy for you. You ready?
Bring it. Bring it.
This one didn't get me necessarily emotional at the time, but I did some self-reflection after this event happened, and it really made me think about a lot of things going on in our society and in our industry. So I had the pleasure of going up to TwitchCon, going up to San Jose a few weeks back. Oh, God, has it been a month already? It's been like a month.
No.
Already. I think it's been a month. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where the time goes.
Oh, jeez.
Like, today's my birthday. Yeah, it's been a month.
Shut up. That's insane.
Anyway, we're at
okay,
TwitchCon.
Our minds just got blown.
Yeah, we're at TwitchCon, and this is my first time at the convention, and I'm kind of exploring and learning everything the convention has to offer, meeting new people, shaking hands, giving hugs, and I'm kind of, to be honest with you, one of the things I love to do when I'm in a new environment, new situation, is do a little people watching, because I love people. I love people. I think they're just mysterious and interesting parts of this world. So I'm watching a father and son. A father and son are kind of just in front of me, and I noticed that they're kind of doing the same thing I'm doing. It's just they're just kind of like, looking around. oh, and they're really embracing. They're trying to see everything that this wild and crazy place can offer them. And I did a little bit of eavesdropping, and one of the things the father said to his son was, he goes, so you're seeing it now, and now you can really consider and see if this is the world that you want to be a part of, if this is the path you want to take. And to me, that hit home to me, because it reminded me of my dad walking me around a college campus, and
so sweet.
Just showing, what we're having a really good father-son time, just the two of us, and him kind of looking down to me and saying, do you think this is going to be the school for you? Is this going to be what your future entails? And I just think that it's such a wild time in this industry right now, for a family to consider that as a potential job opportunity for their son. It's just such a wild time, and it's so supportive. And you're absolutely right. We're getting feedback from the chat. It's good parenting. It is.
Yeah.
And I think about that stuff sometimes, because I'm at that point right now in my life. I just made a transition birthday age. I left one hump. I'm in another hump. I'm in that point in my life right now where I'm starting to think about parenting. I'm starting to think about things I want to pass on, and it's just incredible to think that we're finally at a point in this industry in our lives where this is something we can maybe pass down to a younger generation. Of, there's a future in this. If you're passionate about something, if you love streaming, if you love producing content, if you like doing podcasts, maybe there's a future in this for you. And that was pretty magical to me. So I just wanted to share that.
That's incredible. And, it just makes me feel so good that happened, because I'm going to switch gears on you. When I'm telling my story, I told you I was going to say one other one. I'm actually going to tell a story similar to that one, because I think that's a really good way to do it. But one thing I want to add to yours is that I was just commenting the other day when I was doing my podcast that I do, my very first one that's still going, is that we can literally press a button and go speak to the world now. And it wasn't like this not that long ago.
In our lifetime, so.
Right. Right. And just like to think about even just 10 years prior to now being able to do that, I couldn't. I mean, I've been podcasting for 6.5 years, and even then it was very difficult to be able to do that. Um, it just blows my mind. And
It's
now that
nuts.
there are people bringing their children to WitchCon and looking at that as a future career. But mine actually has to do with a father and a daughter.
Oh boy.
Um, yeah. So, and this was at BlizzCon. I am the producer of the E-League podcast, which is an esports podcast. And we were recording a live show from the host's hotel room, which was in the Sheraton at BlizzCon. So I'd had a long day on Saturday. I'd gone and watched the HGC finals. It was a great, had a great day, but I was kind of tired.
Yeah.
I needed to like scarf down some food at the food trucks and then go and work, right?
Yeah.
So I'm plodding through. I eat my food. I come through the Sheraton, and there's waiting for the elevator is a father and his daughter. And she's probably about 8 years old, maybe. And they're talking about how they're going to call mom. Do you think she's still up, Dad? And he says, yeah, she's still up. We'll call mom and let her know we're doing good and tell her about our day. And we get on the elevator, and the girl is wearing the Jaina pullover, the new Jaina, and
Nice.
the Jaina necklace.
Oh my gosh.
And she's the cutest little thing. She's got real short hair, just like super, super cute. And I was wearing my BlizzCon lanyard, which was a chainmail lanyard that I made of myself. And so it was Diva colors. Yeah. It was Diva colors. So it was like pink and blue and purple and all this stuff. And the little girl looks at me and she goes, I like your lanyard. And I said, thank you. I said, has your BlizzCon been good? And she just looked at me with these huge eyes and she went, awesome. And her dad just grinned at me. And I said, I hope you had the best time. She goes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got off the elevator. We waved goodbye. And I was just thinking, that is the future of our world. That's the people who are, raising the children who are coming to BlizzCon to have that amazing experience. Like, they want to go to BlizzCon because they're so into Jaina and they're so into all of that stuff. How freaking cool is that? And
that's incredible.
I'm not a kid person. Like, I am not like your normal, like,
yeah.
I'm not really into kids.
Okay.
This little girl, like, she wormed her way into my heart, and I was just like, that's so cool. And then I saunter over to the guy's room. I'm like, and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, I had the coolest interaction. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Let's go to work.
They're like,
bunch
whatever,
of esports
Jules.
guys.
But I think that's part of it, though. Just to piggyback off what you were saying earlier, it's like we're not looking at Blizzard as a business. We're looking at it as a family when we go to things like BlizzCon, and to see that transition, from generation to generation, that's kind of what all that magic is about. So
yeah. And that is, BlizzCon to me is family. It is magic. It is that time where we feel like we belong in a lot of ways. And I'm lucky now because I work for myself. But for years I worked in industries where people didn't understand me. Mm-hmm. And I was made fun of, or just like people just didn't want to try to like understand what it was that I was so into. And I will never forget that there was a time when I worked for a company and my boss actually like had a friend of hers come out with us as we were in between a conference, like we were going out to dinner. And she said, yeah, Jules does a podcast. Like it was something dumb.
Wow.
And and really to be made fun of. And I will never forget that feeling. And then I go to BlizzCon and everybody is the same. And they're come from all walks of life, but they understand each other and they care about each other. So yeah, that to me is family. It's the time that we get to connect with each other. And I was lucky enough this year to meet so many more awesome people because of HeroesHearth and the things that we were doing now. So yeah,
we're building our own little family over here at HeroesHearth, and it feels good. It feels really good.
I agree.
I
can't wait to see where we are from a year from now.
I was just gonna say that. I was literally just gonna say the exact same thing. It just feels like so much has happened this past year for Heroes of the Storm, but also just HeroesHearth. and with the new Warcraft content on the horizon, it's just I just can't even imagine where we'll be next year with Heroes Hearth. It blows my mind. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. With that, I think that will do it for this episode of the Jules and Coffee Hour. We hope that you've enjoyed this time by the fire, and we're just going to play this out while we're doing it. Let's do that. Listen to some music while we go out in here. And, Coffee, take us out.
Sure. If you guys want to contact us, if you want to reach the show, you can email us at podcast@heroeshearth.com. And if you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can reach me at coffeeclub_TV, and you can say hey to Jules at JulesRPG. You can also use those handles to find our personal Twitch pages and give us a follow to be notified when we go live.
Absolutely. You can join us for the live broadcast of this show at twitch.tv/HeroesHearth at Mondays at 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, or find us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, and a whole bunch more.
If you guys are liking the show and you are enjoying all the entertainment that Heroes Hearth is bringing you, like Frank Win and Ready Up Wednesdays, I highly, highly encourage you to please consider supporting on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/HeroesHearth.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And for myself, for Coffee, until next time, we're glad you were here. Yeah, baby!
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Woo! That was so much fun!
Feels good.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
That was awesome.
There was subs and follows and raids, and you guys are just amazing. The amount of love that you showed during that was just mind-blowing.
Thank you guys so much.
I have to go back and look at it and just PM some of you, because just this entire day has been nuts. This is one of the best birthdays I've ever had. So just
please read out your subs, your donations, all of it, please. Please read them out.
Read it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank everybody.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right now.
Because the podcast stuff that gets cut off when we transition the music out, so you're fine. Don't worry. Do everything you want to right now. This is you. They say it's your birthday.
Go Coffee. Yeah. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Go Coffee. It's your birthday. All right, here we go. Here we go. Dashboard. All right, so it's loading.
He turned it all off.
I turned it all off. Yeah.
Good boy.
Tonkawa7 has followed. Thank you so much, Tonka. I appreciate it. Starby with the tier 1 sub. My God. Heroes Hearth came in with the host. Kagiri rated with a party of 97. Kags. My goodness. I deeply appreciate that. That was amazing. Poppy Chucho came in and hit me with the tier 1 sub for 10 months. He says, happy birthday, friend. Poppy, thank you so much. It's been an awesome, awesome birthday. I really appreciate it. Casey followed. And then right before that, Metal Magic hit me with the Leet biddies. And then before that, we had TBK Zord also followed. So you guys, thank you so much. That was incredible love you gave throughout the podcast. And just wanted to say thank you at the end of it. And I just got hit with the momentary genius follow. So you guys you aren't stopping. Did you know that today
thanks, Barber.
we surpassed 2,000 follows on this channel, and I'm pretty sure we weren't even close to that when we started today. So
that is so cool.
I don't know, we just hit it and then went by and just nuts, just crazy.
That's so awesome. So awesome. And so that you guys know, we will be doing this show in the future from the Heroes Hearth Twitch. We will. Things are under construction for certain things, and so that's why we're here today. We will hopefully be shifting over to there soon. That is our hope, but if we don't, we'll be here. So
we're gonna be somewhere. We
will be somewhere, and Heroes Hearth will always host us back on this. So if you go there and you don't see us, then you can just jump over.
And then if you guys miss an episode on Twitch, where can they find us, Jules?
There's a lot of ways you can find us. So
right.
Twitch VODs, obviously, but definitely go out to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/HeroesHearth. And that is going to be the place where you see all the VODs, not the chat, but if you want to see all the chat going on, which I love, I like the chat coming in as part of it. Go to Coffee's VODs right now. We're also out there on iTunes if we want to do a little podcast command.
Oh, sure.
In your chat.
You guys took care of this today?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do have to fix that one, but there is a link in there for the direct download. If you are on an Android device and you don't use iTunes, you can get the RSS feed and put it in your favorite podcatcher, or you can go to Spotify, Google Play, Pocket Casts, TuneIn, all those great places. Okay. That is how you get there. So it is everywhere that you can consume a podcast. You can find this. It's under the Jules and Coffee Hour, and that is what it is.
Yeah, the thing about this is, like, I love watching this live, this kind of content live, but I've recently started just listening to it, and it's such a different experience. And by different, I don't mean like better or worse. It's just a different experience. It's just totally different, and I almost notice things about conversations. I notice different parts of conversations, like when I listen to it, as opposed to when I watch it. It's so wild to think about. But you know, they say that 70% of communication is done with tone of voice if you take out body language entirely. So when you watch something like this live, and then you go and you listen to it with headphones in, and you're just kind of tuning in a different way, there's a lot of things that kind of are highlighted that you wouldn't expect. So
it's very true. And, you know, so it's funny because we come from two different angles on this, with Coffee being getting his start in Twitch broadcasting, and me getting my start in podcasting. And I've been Twitch broadcasting before, but I am definitely still an novice intermediate there.
We've got a vet over here, 6+ years in the podcast game, a content creator extraordinaire. It's just, I can't say this enough, but it's a total honor, just very, very humbling to be able to work with you on anything, much less co-host a podcast with you. Just is nuts to think about. Totally crazy.
Thank you, Munsters. That is very, very sweet. And can we please give it up for Coffee, because this is really his first podcast, and you were amazing. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I'm just, give it up for Coffee, please, because
it was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. Like out of all the projects that, you know, I have my hand in right now, this one is like at the top. I think it's at the top because
I love it.
Yeah, it's not just me too. My wife is just super into podcasts right now, and I just to be able to go to her and have this really cool conversation about, you know, this, and then podcasts that she's listening to, it just gets me more and more worked up about doing this show. So I'm just can't say enough about the opportunity to work with you, but also just the ability to create a podcast. It's just awesome. So cool.
It's a cool project for sure. And and I just love making new product, new content. So, and again, chat room, you guys are instrumental in this process as well, because this show is not just about Coffee and I. It is also about you, and you get to drive the content if you'd like. So feel free to send in your thoughts and suggestions of things we would talk about. If not, we'll make it up. We'll figure it out.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's just, but if you feel like there's stuff like, I want to see your perspectives, your unique perspectives on this topic, then bring it.
I really want to get to the point where it's such a diverse conversation that we have people writing in about just really like personal things in their lives. I know that that's a lot to trust us with, you know, but if you submit a letter and you don't want to be recognized, just put anonymous at the top. And I just really can't, I can't say that enough. I want to know about you. I want to know all about you. I mean it when I say I think one of the most interesting and mysterious things in this world are people. I want to know, you know, what you did over the weekend. I want to know how you relax at night when you get home from work. I want to know how your HOTS games went. You know, I want to know, you know, the raids you're doing, and I want to know about issues that are going on with your guild and things like that. I just want to know about things. So please consider writing at the podcast at HeroesHearth.com.
Do it. We're waiting for you.
Yep.
It was awesome. That was so great.
It was really good.
I'm a happy girl. Happy
Same
girl. You're a happy girl.
I'm a happy girl too. My wife just got home. I hear the coop coming in. So.
All right. Well, that makes it a good timing for us to say goodbye and let you celebrate your birthday, the rest of your birthday.
Thank you.
Maybe with a nice dinner.
So my understanding is we're doing Taco Tuesday on a Monday.
Oh yeah.
Complete with the homemade tacos and the margaritas. That's what's going down.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess it's a good time for us to say sayonara.
Yes. Who should we host, Jules?
Oh, let's see who's out there. Who is out there today? Crowan's back. We could give Crowan a little host there.
Crowan's back.
Let's give Crowan a little host.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna say my goodbye then. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thanks for making this one of the best birthdays ever. Your generosity, your support, your love, from the morning until now, it just blows my freaking mind. I never imagined a year ago, when I started doing this, it's almost a year, like 10 months or so ago, that I would be here at this stage with this woman, creating content with so many of you tuning in every day just to be friends with me. It's so weird. A year ago, I was in LA, kind of a misfit, like Jules said, not really sure where I fit in. And now I feel like I found that family. I found my group, and it's thanks to you guys. So it means a lot to me. It really does. So I love you, and I will say goodnight.
Happy birthday, Coffee. Enjoy your day. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this experience with us. We'll be back next Monday. Same time. Maybe same place.
Maybe same place.
See you then.
All right, guys. Stick around. I'm going to host Crowan. Say hey to Crowan for us. Love you all.
Bye, guys. Yay, Crowan.
Did we get that through?
Yeah, it went through.
All right.
He's busy